So, moment of clarity, war dance. I was doing like a improv war dance. I don't know where it came from, but I also came to the conclusion uh, that these people that had a vested interest in my demise, be it justified or not only were they using physical means to try to discredit and incarcerate me, um, that it could possibly be on a coven cult level, and this shit is like unheard of, like unfucking heard of. This is why this is just insane. But me doing that, I believe them to be cult and or if not practitioners of black magic, right? Um, I truly believe that to be true because for a time in Chimayo, it was like quiet, like all of this weird shit stopped happening. And I was like, maybe I was kind of rough in my war dance casting demons out. If one would like to equate that to what it was, whatever. So I was like, wow, this is over, and I just like, thank God, like, holy shit, this I'll face my legal troubles anyway. I'll go to any rehab. It's no problem, obviously, compared to what I had gone through, and I'm still willing to do that. And I'm still trying to do that. Um, so let me. So okay, so with this epiphany and this the war dance or whatever from Native America stuff, I start to listen to my mother and to see things from her standpoint. She was like, "You should call the judge," and I was gonna do that anyways, just because if you're more forthcoming with the judge and straight up honest, especially with this being a small community that it is, it just has and it ends up having a much more positive outcome, and whatnot. So I called the judge. I left a message for her and I waited for my next court appearance, which was by phone. Something happened to the electronics, internet, this, that. So my shit gets delayed for 2 weeks. Thank God. Maybe, whatever. So it gets delayed for 2 weeks. In this time, I am currently trying to and have been going to the courthouse to work with a court appointed employee that has been trying to aid my entry into another rehab center, right? And it's really, really weird too because, like, even me being in his office, like, we were getting so many and still are getting so many completely polar opposite mixed messages. Like a couple of rehabs saying, yeah, yeah, we accept people on the MAT program, blah, 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 blah. But then, I mean, even to the point of yesterday, and I realize this chronological time order is just like incredibly fast. And there's a lot more relevant stuff in between, but this is the main shit that I can think about in recently. Um, to the point that somebody called me yesterday for an over the phone application, and I believe it was the guy from Roswell. And I guess apparently in the office in the courthouse, we had been told that the Roswell Rehabilitation Center accepts people on the MAT program. However, when this guy called me yesterday, and the phone number is most definitely still in my recent calls, he told me we started doing the application over the phone, and I stopped and I was like, "Wait, do you guys accept people on the MAT program? Suboxone assistance, whatever?" No, we don't. Like, seriously, man? No, that's no, we don't, sir. This is really difficult. Okay, have a good day. Goodbye. Okay, and I okay that happened. That happened. I just so that happened, and the one person that I talk to anymore, Cipriano Marquez, like, he's my brother, man. I love that guy. The best way that I could describe it is that the people who want to harm me are frustrated to the point that they have begun trying to convince others around me, like, to aid in this, and the only reason of which I can come up with that is that they have something over them. And this is incredibly crazy. Jesus Christ. So he's like, "Hey, bro, I gotta run a couple errands. Do you want me to pick you up?" I was like, like, yeah, dude, I couldn't wait to get out of the house, even to see a friend. And he's like, I got like a couple bucks. We'll pick up a couple of beers or whatever. I was like, hell yeah, man. So he picks me up, and I, this is from a legal standpoint, this is not really even provable, but I notice people's anxiety levels, and more so can read people, especially people that I already know, incredibly well, and if there's something wrong. I didn't say anything because I was like, I'm just fucking crazy, right? But something was weird. So, anyways, first stop out of Tremayo is El Reyes. We pick up a couple of beers. We weren't even drinking and driving or anything. But then we go to Walmart. He had to get his blood pressure and stuff taken because for National Guard reasons. So we do that. We to Walmart, and from Walmart to his recruiter, which is the old high school. We go take care of all of that, and I'm thinking we're gonna hop back in the car and just come back to Chima. And then suddenly he's like, "Well, maybe would you like to go to my lady's house and drink? We'll have a couple drinks with her, together." We've hung out quite a bit before, all three of us, but never ever like have I had any crush intentions or try to hit on this girlfriend. That's just something I just don't do. Like, period. Like, that's just no. Also, it's a notable fact. Like, any person that even loosely knows of an association of me knows that, like, people abusing females is something that, frankly, whether it's in public or not, I catch you doing, I'm gonna, if not verbally put you in your place, possibly physically. Because it's something that society, I feel, has way too big a problem with, and that happens way too often, especially due to some things that happened while I was in jail. So, anyways, so we go back to El Rey's, and he picks up a bottle of Deep Eddies, and this is significant. Deep Eddies is 35% alcohol. Anybody who knows me, even frankly loosely, knows that I have a tolerance that's just stupid, right? Sippy as well for drinking, although Sippy has been sober, and so had I. So I wasn't like, we weren't like giving her all. Anyways, we get to his girlfriend's house. We I had a total of, I would estimate, like 18 ounces of like beer and 4 to 5 shots, but out of a shot glass, not like where it's unmeasurable because we're all drinking. Whatever. Also didn't pour and wasn't watching all of my things being poured, but why would I, man? Like, this guy, I trust to the till recently. What I still do, but to a point. This is where things start to get really screwy. Like, everything starts to get really, really blurry, and then there's some sense of urgency created as to why we had to leave right away and stuff. And I was in the back seat of the car, and and he was in passenger. His girlfriend was driving, and there's some more details which I'm going to explain in a second. But next thing I know, we're getting out of the car somewhere near Dan's bar, and that's not too far from my house whatsoever, like within walking distance. But it would take 45 minutes or so to walk from my house. By car, like 3 minutes, honestly. So he keeps telling me to like hide behind shit or like something, and I didn't realize why I was so confused. But I was like just confused and just kind of like entrusting in somebody who was seemingly, seemingly way less intoxicated than myself, and that didn't make sense till later. Long story short, I kind of come to like writhing in somebody's like driveway or something, like on the ground, and it's an officer that's like confronting me, and like, okay, that happened, and I think he realized like this guy is like super intoxicated. Maybe we should call the EMTs or something. So that's ended up what ended up happening. All right, and before the EMTs came, another officer was on scene. They did, they restrained me. I don't blame them at all. I mean, it's procedure. But I was particularly apprehensive, especially about being taken to Espanola, to the hospital in Spania, because of past experiences that just terrified me. And it wasn't on a personal level of I was hallucinating. It was that I saw reason and other people's attitudes and anxiety levels strange, and there is some stuff with some past law enforcement as well that will prove to give me reason to not trust Espanol medical whatsoever. To the point that I was ready to like let my ball. I was willing to come home and like pass away on my own terms as opposed to going to that hospital prior to getting my testicles checked out and this and that, you know? And so, like, I kind of freak out a little bit when they say, like, EMTs Espanol. I'm like, oh, God, this is, no, 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 no. Like, I was like, ulcers, my mother's Chris McGill. I live at 119. And I was having, like, more trouble than I can ever remember, except, finding words, like, verbalizing stuff. But not, like, way too alcohol intoxicated because everybody knows that drunk people fucking talk at great lengths and it's no problem spitting it out, even if it is only junk, right? I was literally having the hardest time that I can remember talking. And so I was like, great, this is really fucked up. I'm thinking things like I can generally explain stuff with a sense of reason, but whatever I've been dosed on, and I was almost like a semi semi psychedelic thing when I was coming out of it, or like things were just kind of goofy like that. So I figured, dude, I had to be doped up on like disassociative, especially with all these like cuts and stuff on my arms from like writhing around in the fucking gravel. In my mind, because I do have not a classical or any type of formal pharmaceutical education, more so of a hobby, and my family was in the medical field. Is the best way I can quickly explain it. Pharmacology, signs, symptoms, what they do. I'm thinking, dude, I've been dosed on a fucking disassociative. So whatever. The ambulance shows up, and frankly, how do I say this? One of the medical crew, I no clue. He just seemed incredibly, like, way too happy to like see me in kind of a twisted sense, right? Um, and so I'm like at this point in time begging the officers, and from a legal standpoint, I had to go to a hospital to get cleared. At the very least to get cleared. So I go to this hospital. I don't want to say this shit all out, but there were coincidences against me that made no sense. Like instantly, there was like a full medical staff like next to me who seemed morbidly happy to see me, like almost celebratory, but more like, finally, you stupid fuck. And they put me in not a regular like triage room, more like in the room that they take people for emergency car accidents and amputations and shit like that. And that was the first thing that oh dude, that scared the shit out of me, to the point that I was just like, I think I whispered to like one or two of them, dude, just fuck it, give me a shot of succinylcholine. No, 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 I won't take anything. And you guys can look that up and figure that out. So to the point that I think the officers denoted strangeness, but not so strangeness. But I didn't do anything legally wrong, so they were like, okay, well, we'll just clear them, and blah yada yada. I ended up getting home, all right, last night, and like getting home, I was still having a hard time talking, even just finding words to get to like vocalize them and shit, which is really fucking weird. So I get home and I call Sippy, immediately, because I didn't have any of my fucking possessions even upon coming out of it. Like I had my backpack, which I always fucking carry, my cell phone. I had nothing, nothing. So I called Sippy from my mom's phone, and he essentially said, "Oh, bro, I'm just here kicking it. Yeah." And like I wanted to ask a whole bunch of questions, but my mental state, I was like, "Fuck it, I'll wait till tomorrow." Right? So today, being tomorrow, whatever. Today, I get up and call Sippy, a little while after getting up and stuff, and like he starts feeding me this fictional tale, but the main points of it being just lies, dude, like straight lies. Like I was like, bro, how come you got home and were seemingly okay, and you being my brother, I got like picked up in a semi delirious state? Like, what the fuck? And I started thinking about this, and I started thinking, I like literally going through my mind, how much should I drink? And I already think I pre-stated that, like 4 or 5 fucking shots out of a shot glass and like 18 or 20 ounces of beer, right? So fucking, he just starts saying, I don't know, I just kept walking, man. But then later that changed to his cousins picked me up, and this is okay. Essentially, the totality of the story as of late was that, and reason for urgency that I perceived that we had to leave. He said that I was in his girlfriend's house and like I had like broken some stuff of the girlfriend's mother, right? And so she thought it, or him and I were like wrestling or something, and so she thought it best for us to like leave. And I'm thinking, A, that's just personality, not me. B, I didn't drink anywhere near enough alcohol to like be in a state or to not remember like I was. And then the story kept changing and like more shit kept piling on top of it. And shit that really started to scare me, well, scared the fuck out of me as of last night. But he ended up being like, I destroyed or tore up the inside of the mother's vehicle, and then it changed to I did that and I choked his girlfriend, right? Let me bring up a couple of points. For one, Cipriano, I love him to death. We all have faults. We're humans. For one, he is, as far as in a relationship wise, he's fairly jealous of anybody that's even a perceived like hitting on his girlfriend. For two, I'm not, that's not me, and I am, I mean, of anything else known as not a thief, not a woman beater, and essentially completely trustworthy in most sense, in pretty much all senses. That are common to people. Whatever, I can explain that in depth later if necessary. Um, okay, so what happens is he ends up saying, "Oh, I have your wallet, and I don't know where the rest of your shit is." And I was like, "Okay, whatever. Maybe we just what the fuck ever. Could you please just drop it off?" So then he takes and he comes by the house, and I at this point in time he hadn't even accused me of physically harming his lady, which is something that just never happened. But anyways, so he gets here and he's like, "Oh, here's your wallet," and he's like, well, shit, man, maybe we should backtrack, and to see if your stuff's in a ditch or something." This is highly improbable, especially considering that I hate to say this, but Chimayo has a high addiction problem. So we go down to the bar and like we park kind of a little bit far from it, a little bit towards us, past it, or a little bit past it towards us. And we hop out of the car. We're both kind of looking around, and I look around. Oh, I went inside and asked the lady. I was like, "Ma'am, I know you realize you probably wouldn't have been working the evening shift last night. However, are you aware of any altercation that could have happened in the parking lot last night? And if so, did anybody turn anything in, like be it like cell phones, backpacks, anything?" And she's like, Not that I'm aware of." I'm like, okay, thank you. Have a nice day." So I get back. I walk out of the bar, and then I take and walk back to the car. And Sippy is not too far from it, and he's kind of looking, and I'm just like, yeah, this real highly in problem. Like Sippy lets bounce. We both look like a bunch of assholes. Fuck it. So he's like, okay, so we hop in the car, whip a shitty, and within 16th, I don't know, 500 feet, something like that, he notices my backpack on the left hand side of the road, which would have been the same side as the bar, and it's kind of in plain sight with like my this hat, which is not cheap, like right next to it. Now, Chimayo, for one, if my backpack had been there since like yesterday evening, for one, at least that baseball cap wouldn't have been next to it. For two, I like look in my bag real quick. All of my Suboxone is there. All my gabapentin is there. Things that somebody would have gone through it and taken full advantage of what was in there, regardless if they knew me or not. more likely if I didn't know me or what the fuck ever, my shit would have not been in there, including the cell phone. So I'm like, wow, this really is fucking bullshit. And I actually denoted the temperature of my backpack due to it being allegedly left there since yesterday. And I was like, I felt it, and I instantly, even said to Sippy as to whether or not he listened or even heard me. I was like, dude, this thing has been there for like 10 or 15 minutes, maybe 20. And so I was like, well, whatever, fuck it. I'm happy to repossess my fucking possessions, you know? So then he brings me back here to my house, and he's also had earlier said that he was missing money out of his wallet and like a silver coin. And I even, when he said it, I was like, dude, for one, you trust me in your family home, even if you're not in the room to the point because you know that I don't fucking steal, dude. And so I was like, bro, I don't know what happened to the money in your fucking wallet. And even so, why would I have your wallet? And thirdly, whatever. So get back to the house, and he, we part ways. I'm like, whatever, bro. I'm just happy to have my shit back. Maybe you and I should just, maybe you should do your National Guard thing, and I should just fuck off. More. And so he bounces, and then the shit, like, he hits me up saying that, like, the urgent state of urgency that was created for us to be leaving so quickly and at a high rate of speed and possibly without gathering up all of our shit was that I had broke something in the mom's house, and I broke something in the mom's house, and that's how it started, right? Like, I broke something in her house. That really does not sound like me. And also, I was nowhere near intoxicated to, like, be blacked out drunk. What the fuck, dude? And just like Sippy, this is like being pre-conspired and not with a lot of time because, frankly, whatever, just for notable fucking reasons. Then he fucking hits me up and he goes, oh, the mom freaked out because I like choked his girlfriend and broke some physical objects in the mom's house. And I'm like, this is really fucked up. And I start thinking about it. I'm like, Sippy, I choked your girlfriend. Where the fuck were you, for one? For two, you would have beat the dog shit out of me, or we would have been boxing you. That's just the way it is by your temperament, nature, and how you and I morally view things, And then I stopped to think about it, and I was like, you know what? Wait a second. There's a bunch of cameras on the inside of that house, and I know that shit. So I was like, Sippy, for one, you would have been over here kicking the shit out of me. For two, there's a bunch of cameras on the inside of that fucking house. For three, why would I have been left alone with your lady, even if you like went to the bathroom or something? That would have been, you would have heard that shit, dude. Like, and she wouldn't have just been like, oh, cool, trust me, but I'm not gonna say anything, right? Like, that does not make any motherfucking sense. And then they started to say that I tore up the inside of a car. Dude, when I got out of the car, I didn't have shit. And it's, with today's materials and shit, unless I had a knife or something, it would have been pretty hard to damage the inside of the car aside from physically breaking windows with like fists and shit. Like, this is like somebody's like keeping on inventing shit to try to come up with their last shit to make it all make sense, but in reality it's just totally not making sense. And Jesus Christ. And I started thinking about it, and I'm like, you know what, man? Like, I knew people with some certain group of people, not native to northern New Mexico, had something against me, and it has been compiling to a breaking point. And now it's just, I feel as though it was between that and them trying to levy these completely falsified charges with their knowledge of my current legal struggles. That would be a way to essentially, fuck me up on a level that I wouldn't be able to do much about, and that's that's just cruel and heinous, essentially. But like, and there's way more to this, man. Like, but okay, that's the general outline. Um, Give me a minute. I'm gonna stop this video, save this shit, and I'll take a couple of notes. And then the next video is gonna be pointing out things in between that compile to like prove what the fuck I've been saying and what I've been saying, and different things. But why this is also particularly dangerous, I feel as though for myself, is that, frankly, for people to have had no investigation whatsoever, and even no neighbors around us hearing and seeing what they have, frankly, it implies that by their own will, bribery, or threats, law enforcement has neglected a bunch of shit for a long time. And that's some shit that makes me a prime motherfucking pop. You know what I'm saying? But of all law enforcement, are going to be implicated in some fucked up shit, especially one that would possibly put them in jail, essentially. You know, that's where I'm starting to get shit's really starting to trip me out. Aside from like hospitals being like essentially sanctioned body disposal, that you can't prove anything once they fucking do their shit. That's another reason like the hospitals terrify me for the rest of my life. I will die at home. Fuck that shit. Um, Next video will be details. Frankly, it will be 8.5 most recent, rememberable, denotable details perpetuating the truth. And it's not even a theory; it's the fucking truth. Uh, Jesus Christ! I gotta compress this and send this to you, Avery. I need legal counsel. I need serious fucking legal counsel, and to the point that I think that they actually have also, I'm gonna use the term they have also gotten to and threatened, if not told the the guy in the fucking court to help me get into rehab. Uh, there's strong things suggesting that he has been approached at the very least. All right, Paul McGill, fucking my life over. Almost 10 years in the making. Peace.